everyone. I normally have contacts in. I don't have them in right now, and the glasses had horrible glare, so I'm blind as a bat right now, so if I look like I'm kind of confused, that's why. I am responding to Bohem's question, how do you plot your timeline? It would, I think for me, most of my life, it's changed a little bit recently just because I haven't had time, but most of my life it's been video games. It started when I was a little kid. I mean, 5 years old, little tiny kid. And I would always watch my dad play fight sims. And I would sit there with like a pencil or something and help him. And I always loved doing that. I don't know if he did, but I thought it was great fun. And then it kind of just progressed through, the typical Super Nintendo stuff. I think it mostly marks levels of, like, kind of maturity and growth. First video game that I really, really remember was Lunar the Silver Star on the Sega Genesis. I was addicted to it. I'm sure at the time, I was pretty young. I sucked at it, but I don't know. Maybe it was just watching my dad play. I don't remember, but I just remember that game being, I connected to it emotionally, which is kind of probably a really lame thing to say, but it's always been my favorite. I mean, I have like every remake of it that they've ever made. And then, there's some events in there too, because I remember when we were moving out of our apartment into another apartment, I remember it distinctly because we had everything packed up, all the beds and everything, so we were all sleeping out in the living room. And Dad couldn't sleep, so he was at the computer playing, I don't know what it was. I think, looking back, I think it was one of the Ultimas, before I got all 3D and everything. I don't know. I thought it was cool to watch. So I kind of sat there and watched him play until we both got really tired at like 3 in the morning. So, that's kind of an event, Here we moved here, and then I remember this one apartment, I don't remember where it is, I just remember that we had an Atari Jaguar, and only played like 2 games on it, because it kind of sucked. So there's some of that stuff. And then Final Fantasy VII, big one for me. Aeris, just that scene where Aeris died, and like, Sephiroth turning around in the flames and everything. That was another game where it's like, I was young, probably more dramatic than I need to be, but, it hit me. I mean, I cried when Aeris died. I was a little kid, but it did, there's that connection. And I'm recovering from a cold, so if I sound a little bit off, that's why. So it kind of grew after that, to just kind of become a generic video gamer. There's like this whole section of my life, it's really, really sad, but it's like there's a section of my life where this was the RP. I did stuff in a chat room with this little confined group of people, and honestly, I don't remember what real life events connect to that time period. I was that. I mean, like 6 hours a day, seriously, it was really sad. But that was a big thing to me. So it's kind of like another game, it's just one where I was more in control of what happened. And then, just after that, it grew on to just kind of, Wild Arms and more RPGs and some of that stuff, and then it kind of transferred over to music and movies, and I haven't really had much to plot recently. I guess some stuff like holidays, today's 4th of July, I can think back, it reminds me of events. Certain songs, like Bright Eyes by Blind Guardian, I think, is one of them. Hide and Seek by Imogen Heap, some of those songs where I only listen to them in this little period of time, and every time I listen to them now, of course they're all depressing, but Anywhere by Evanescence, that's actually a good one, so I have a couple good ones. But yeah, not a lot to plot recently. It's not that I can think of. There probably is something. It's kind of a hodgepodge collection of stuff, so maybe there's something there. Good question. It's kind of cool. I like I like watching all the video responses. So there's different people, and all these people are like, hi, yeah, I know that. Oh, anime. Anime was a big one. I started at Sailor Moon, and then I hated DBZ until I was sick on the couch and couldn't reach the remote. And Dragon Ball Z came on, and I watched it because I was sick and didn't want to move. And I liked it, and it exploded from there, you know. Rurouni Kenshin, Escaflowne, Full Metal Alchemist, some of that stuff. So that's another thing where I can kind of plot, where it exploded over time. Getting away from what was on Cartoon Network to what was on the internet. So, yeah, mixture. I need to find something for recently. I need to find something new to define those points. So, thank you for the question. It was fun to think about it. Have a good night, y'all.